This is video 5, lecture 2. This is a graph of a timeline of world religions. We have here in the bottom part an approximate time, starting with a 0, then going to our present day around 2000. We have Sikhism, Islam, two main branches of Islam. We have one continuous line of Judaism going back to more than 2000 years ago. Here we have Samaritanism. We have a new type of religion here, Bayanism. We have also Christianity, which, as you can see, it branches off into various different belief systems. We have Manichaeism. We have what we call the Old World Paganism, Greek, Roman, and Egyptian. We also have New World Paganism. This is, I guess, what I'll be sharing most of it through the class. We can see that it has a date that it erases. So actually there has been a lot of resurgence into putting a big thick line here in a continuum. That's what we will be talking much about. Then we have Zoroastrianism, Jainism, Brahmanism shifting into Hinduism. From Hinduism we also have the development of Buddhism. Okay. We have Shintoism. Some would argue that Shintoism, as well as the Old World Paganism and New World religions, would be aligned all the way back here. Confucianism, that some would argue is not a religion, but a kind of a moral code, an institutionalized moral code based on a different type of rationale. But anyway, we still find it in this chart. And Taoism. It will take a lifetime to get acquainted with each specifics of each of these religions. We're going to survey and review some of them, kind of to have a good understanding of the importance of the type of religions that occur here in the Americas that are all turned into New World Paganism. Okay, that's the only place that I would say. Now here's a big mix of what do they mean with New World Paganism. Okay, let's keep reviewing. For now, we're gonna inquire into the building blocks of Western thought. Why? Well, because that is where we are coming from right now, and if we need to just agree on certain basic knowledge pertaining to how do we get to where we are today. This is a timeline of the Greek world. When we talk about the Hellenistic period, or the Greco-Roman period, or the Roman Empire. Most of our written records in Western history particularly come from this 1000 years history of the development of Greek culture. Now, who are these people that we are so interested in? Well, many of you have much knowledge about them. For some of you, this might be an introduction. Why are we so fascinated with the Greeks? We could start with Homer, who is thought to have been the good person who wrote down the Iliad and the Odyssey, considered the first known literature of Europe. We also have other authors like Hesiod, who created the genealogies of the gods. All of the Percy Jackson fans out there, you're fans thanks to the work that Hesiod created 700 years before the Common Era. Now, this is the source book of ancient Greek myth. He was the first person to approach a descriptive and systematic analysis to all the oral traditions that existed in the Greek world. And it's actually a critical and more rationalistic treatment of the gods. Okay? Another founding father of why we're so interested in the Greeks is Herodotus, the father of history, where basically his method of investigation is the building blocks of the present historical inquiry narratives that we try to attempt to keep performing. Other important Greeks, the Greek philosophers. Well, the first one is Socrates, who is actually a very enigmatic figure. Why? Because nothing written from him remains. Everything we know about Socrates comes from secondary sources, such as Plato's dialogues or Xenophon's writings. But everything we teach today is based on Socratic thought. What do we mean? Is the dialectic method of inquiry, We also know it as the Socratic method. What does this mean? Teaching by a question and answering. Question and answering. This basically is what forms the way that our academy works. Now, Socrates left very deep influence in the way we have constructed our academic world, and that's why he is considered the father of political philosophy and ethics. Okay, questioning ethics, examining our own beliefs. Okay, the inquiry of good being part of knowledge and evil part of ignorance. Okay, nonetheless, so other philosophers of this period basically would become Plato. It is thanks to Plato's writing, who was a student of Socrates, that we know about Socrates. Okay, you can take an entire semester just to start learning about the importance of Plato in our society. Here is the intention just a very superficial introduction. Okay, he wrote the Republic in 380 BC, inquiring on the meaning of justice. What does the just city-state has to do? Okay, what is the nature of the existing regimes? He also thought about the immortality of the soul and, very importantly, the role of the philosopher in a society. He also wrote the Laws, which he inquires about the ethics of governments and laws. He actually wrote down a detailed plan of a good new political order, focused on the family, on the status of women, property and rights. He wrote about criminal law, the role of religion, and the fine arts, all of them as being part of a healthy republic. Okay. Today we know that 250 known manuscripts of Plato have survived. We know that he was a student of Socrates. How? Because he tells us. We know that Plato traveled through North Africa and Italy, and that he founded the academy in Athens in 387 before the Common Era. He is famous for the quote, "Philosophy begins in wonder," and that is why he is one of the foundations of Western philosophy and science, mathematics, and he deeply influenced Christianity through the figure of St. Augustine. Most famous of Plato's writing style is basically the dialogues. Okay? Here we would lead us to a very prominent Greek philosopher, especially for the Muslim scholars, Aristotle. Aristotle basically studied under Plato's academy in Athens. He wrote on physics, biology, zoology, metaphysics, logic, ethics, aesthetics, poetry, theater, music, rhetoric, linguistics, politics, and government. He basically developed a comprehensive system of Western philosophy. He argued that knowledge was based on perception. He was the professor or tutor of Alexander the Great. Okay, and as many know, maybe, he's considered as the first teacher for the medieval Muslim intellectuals. Okay? Now, it's important just to review the Greek world because, as we will see, everything that we just perceive to be part of the Greek world, actually we will trace back to the Neolithic period. For the time being, it's interesting just to find it as an important part of our cross-cultural comparison method. We know that the Greek world was a polytheistic tradition, meaning in the Greek world people believed in many gods, okay? And it's important that the Greek world also manifested itself as the exemplary polis, the city-states, where religion was part of the everyday life, from large altars and massive temples to simple home altars, where we see huge religious celebrations in public and a very, what we will be seeing, kind of a private ritual, okay, that takes place in the individual's home. We also know that they had yearly cycles and celebrations. Every city had a patron god. We had oracles, we had the athletic games, and most importantly, we have one of the many early evidence of pilgrimages. Pilgrimages where people would agree to give safe passage to all. And one of these iconic elements of the ancient Greek traditions is the Parthenon which is located in Athens, Greece. Okay. This is the end of video 5. We'll continue in the next one.